welcome to another caffeinated entertainment video. I'm Art. This is the first of its kind, a Game of Thrones Season 7 review. I'm a huge George R.R. Martin fan, huge Game of Thrones fan. Thought I'd wrap up Season 7 by reviewing it and seeing what I thought of it. First of all, let me go through an overview of the season. A lot happens. A lot good. Well, some good, most bad. This being the penultimate season, it has to kind of lead up to a resolution which will hopefully be satisfying. I won't say good, because nothing in Westeros and Martin's world is ever good, but at least it should be satisfying. First, let me go on and say that there will be spoilers in this review. If you have not watched Season 7 of Game of Thrones, do not watch this video. I'll give you a few seconds to kind of exit yourself out of the video. Come back to the video once you've watched Season 7. Okay, now that everybody's gone, let's get on to the nitty-gritty. The first major thing we see in Season 7 is Jon Snow being named King of the North, and Daenerys Targaryen having her war council at Dragonstone. Now, later on in the season, most of her war council is taken out. The Dorne, House Dorne is taken, is taken out by Aegon? No. One of the Greyjoys, the evil Greyjoy, the one with all the ships that killed his brother. And Lyanna Tyrell was taken out by Jaime Lannister himself, along with the Tyrell army, as the Lannisters take Highgarden. Now, in response to this, Daenerys takes Casterly Rock, which the Lannisters leave unguarded. But the focus of this season was mostly with the White Walkers. Even with Jon and Samwell Tarly, their storylines kind of all encompassed and circled around the White Walkers and the King of the Dead, basically the White King. We see the dragons, all three of Daenerys' dragons, face battle for the first time ever in this series, and they dominate. Flat out dominate, almost killed Jaime Lannister if Bronn hadn't saved him. Cersei goes off the deep end, very much so, and Daenerys finally meets Jon Snow and is skeptical of him at first, and of the White Walkers and the White King, but after seeing them herself, she's totally on board and realizes that the army of the dead, the White Walkers, are the true threat to Westeros and of all living life in Westeros and further south. As far as we know, they haven't crossed an ocean, but who's to say they couldn't cross an ocean? We see Daenerys come into her own and be a strong, thoughtful, decisive queen, basically single-handedly eliminating House Tyrell by eliminating the Earl and his son Dickon. I'll never forget that name, Dickon. We also see her destroy many White Walkers as Jon Snow and his band of merry men, let's call it, is surrounded by the White King's army. However, the White King takes down one of her dragons, therefore making it as though she has lost, as she has lost one of her children. Remember, her dragons are her children. So she has lost one of her children. And the White Dragon in the same episode is born. At least that's what I'm calling him. He's the White Dragon. He's the dead dragon. And basically, he is the big game-changing piece on the board for the White Walker army and the White King. Excuse me, I'm having issues with my sinuses today for some reason, so that's why I'm coughing a bunch. But at the end of the season, we see at the season finale, which aired last night. I've already watched it. What a great episode! Sansa and Arya, who were pitted against each other throughout the season via Littlefinger's dabblings. I don't know who I like less, Varys the Spider or Littlefinger. Well, as those of us who know and who have watched the episode know, only one of them is around. Period. Because Sansa and Arya team up to take out Littlefinger and make him answer for the crimes that he has committed. He is definitely a sociopath, and he may not have physically committed the acts, but he orchestrated the acts. Therefore, he is a criminal to the kingdom and definitely to the North, even though he is the one responsible for taking back the North. So it's kind of a juxtaposition, but I feel as though they did the right thing. We also see the meeting of the War Council, or the meeting in the Dragon Pit, in the final episode of the season. We see that Cersei and Jaime initially agree to help fight the army for the side of the living, because let's face it, the war is between the living and the dead. It's not between House Lannister, House Targaryen, House Stark, House Tyrell, House Dorne. You know, it's not a Housel spat. It's not a War of the Roses type spat. It's a either you're alive or you're dead war. And it's a much more consequential war. And it is simply just... Jaime is true to his word. He rides south. We find out later by himself, because Cersei was not... she's going to try to take back most of Westeros, while Jon Snow's army and the Targaryen army take out the White Walkers, or try to deal with the White Walkers. But what she doesn't realize is the White Walkers are coming for everybody, and if the Targaryens and the Starks fall, then then she will fall as well. There's not a 20,000 man army that, because once somebody dies, they become a de facto member of the White Army, and that way it's kind of like The Walking Dead. And as we well know, Jaime finds out that he conspired behind her back, didn't even tell him. Behind his back, didn't even tell him. Sorry about that. So he leaves by himself and rides off as the snows fall on King's Landing, because winter has come. And the closing scenes of the episode are, we find out that Jon Snow is actually the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. He is Aegon Targaryen, which most of us who read the books found out, or basically figured out, that he was a Targaryen. So at the end, he's making love to his aunt. Incest abound in Game of Thrones. Always. Hashtag incest abound. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That may cause them trouble, because she wants the Iron Throne. He's the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. They may get married. Who the hell knows? We're going to have to wait and see. Now, the epic scene at the end is the scene that left us all in fright. We see the White Walker army approach the wall. Then we see the White Dragon destroy the wall. The wall comes crumbling down, and there's a big gaping hole. And as we fade to black for the season, the White Walker army is marching south into Westeros proper. Whew. Now, what a great show. Epic all the time. Even though we only got 7 episodes this time and 8 episodes in 2019. Yes, you heard me right, 2019. Hey, look on the bright side. Maybe Martin will finish a book between now and then. I say maybe because he's a slow writer. But hey, he's got 2 years. He can finish a book. Leave in the comments below your thoughts on the season. I give the season a 9 out of 10. There were a few slow episodes that kind of made me want to go, but for the most part, it left me wanting more. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think of this season and what you think is going to happen at the end of season 8. Who you think will end up on the Iron Throne. Are you glad Littlefinger's dead? Are you sad Littlefinger's dead? Are you glad Samuel Tarly's back in Winterfell? Is Bran the key to all things? Is Jon and Dany the key to all things? We don't know. Until next time, read on and don't forget, winter is here.